Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, never mind then. Weird.
Yeah, it changed our feed.
What the heck? This thing is so weird. Oh well. Oh. Okay.
New call screen. Okay. I see it.
Okay. I'm just gonna do my usual mental countdown and then we begin.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to a Random Gamers Corner. I'm your host Alejandro Ortiz, and I am joined by a new guest. May you introduce yourself for everyone who, well, get the honor to hear you for the first time on the show.
Yo, what's up, everybody? My name's Nick. My handle is Nikolai at Night. I am one half of the Friday Night Gamecast, and I met Alejandro here through our local podcasting network, and I'm really excited to be on the show today. Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what he just said. Like we met on Discord. Uh, damn, that's a long name, but pretty much the whole podcast network is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And are you is your podcast like new, or like have you done a podcast before this current one that you're doing?
It is new. Our podcast, yeah,
Okay.
definitely. So Will and I are the co-hosts of the Friday Night Gamecast, and this is the very first time that I've listened to dozens and dozens of podcasts before. So long time listener, first time creator, LOL. But yeah, so this is our first project that we've done together and kind of our first venture into it. But I think it's being received really well. So I'm very happy to hear, how people are, receiving it and just enjoying the content that we put out so far. Episode 3 is going to be a banger. We have episode 1 and 2 up now, and then I have a bonus content episode where I talk a little bit about the Halo show on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Honestly, I believe it. It definitely should be a banger. Definitely check them out because honestly, I really thought that you guys were like, oh, they must have done this before, like for a very long time because like the editing and everything was like pretty damn well made. So
I
I was like,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, I
Appreciate
was just
that.
thinking like, oh, you could have fooled me because like looked like you
Yeah.
already had your hand in this a long time ago.
Yeah, Will has a lot of history. Like he's taken like multiple like public speaking classes, and that was kind of involved in his major in college. And I was in a band a while ago, so I know my way around Audacity. So kind of just picking up those old skills that we've left behind and then turn into a podcast. It really worked out for us.
Oh, watch out! Look at that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what have you been up to? Like, what have you been playing, man? Before we get tell the audience what we're about to talk about today.
Oh man, I can't wait to. So playing video game wise, last night I was on stream again. My handle's Nikolai at Night, and that's spelled with a K, and like night is like Knight, like the knight. From the medieval era. So yeah, that's the only thing I could find on Twitch that actually made sense and was like decent enough to be a brand. But yeah, so I was playing on stream last night, and I actually just beat 100% defeated Sifu on PlayStation 5, and I got the platinum in that game, which is like major gaming achievement for me. So I was really happy to be able to knock that out because that was something that I've been grinding on. It's one of those games very similar to Fire Emblem. I know that everybody in a Random Gaming Corner is like huge Fire Emblem fans. I
Yes.
grind games like that. When I love a game, I just grind it out. And I knew like CPL was like, I played like the first 20, 30 minutes. And I was like, oh, I'm 100% platinum in this game. So it took me a while, but I finally figured it out. I figured out all the bosses and I played that. So I beat it last night. And then something that's been on my backlog, because it's backlog season and I've been meaning to work through some of the stuff that's been on my backlog. I just started and did my first playthrough and beat Journey last night.
Oh,
Which I think is it's a PlayStation game, but I think it's also on the PC. Have you ever played that?
uh, isn't that one game where the character is wearing a scarf?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, okay. I mean, I never played it. Like, unfortunately, I don't have like a current up to date PlayStation, but yeah, I've seen it before, and it seems like it's pretty cool. Like, it seems like a very peaceful game where you
Oh
get like
yeah.
play alongside someone else, and apparently you take damage. Your scarves get shorter over time. So I was doing like, pretty interesting game. Like, it's always cool to like see a game like that like still get popular because everyone's thinking like, nah, you need like ultra violence to like have a really great game.
Right. And I think like one of the it's like I don't know if you can qualify Journey as in that category of like cozy games, but it's so interesting because a lot of niche games like that have a very like kind of a wide and like I don't know, just a very diverse community of people who love those games. Like I don't stream often. And then I started streaming Journey last night after my Sifu playthrough where I had like nobody on stream, which is typical for me. I'm not a big streamer. And then I started playing Journey. I had like 7 people in my chat, and I was like, okay, this is cool. But yeah, it's really cool, very chill, very laid back. I mean, the music kind of tells the story of the game. The music is
Mm.
100% incredible, and it's not one of those, like you said, it's not one of those hyper violent games where you have to, do all of these, crazy boss fights or hand combat techniques like in Seafood in order to actually progress. It's mainly just like the experience, which I find really magical. So yeah. How about yourself? What have you been playing lately?
Well, I've been there's always something that comes out like I forget instantly what I've been playing, but if I remember correct, I've been doing some streaming of Final Fantasy VII,
Okay.
which I've been I've always been hesitant on getting into the older Final Fantasy games because well I was like what's the point if I can't beat Final Fantasy 10-2? So it was just it was just a thing where I was like, man, I just suck. Like I cannot get into Final Fantasy game. I can't say that I could play these games. But then Final Fantasy 7, I've been kicking ass. I got the high speed mode on just so I could like breeze
Oh,
through like most of the walking around and random
okay.
encounter random
Now,
encounters faster.
just
Just so
just to
like
clarify really quick, this is the OG PS1 Final Fantasy 7, not Final Fantasy 7 remake.
oh not the remake. Again, I wish I had the PlayStation, but I think I
Oh
made me
yeah, okay.
appreciate
I
it made me
got you.
appreciate like the older game. I was saying like, damn, this is so damn well made. Like this is like
Yeah.
wait, you said PlayStation 1, right?
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
like pretty certain that the OG Final Fantasy 7 was a PS1 game. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
And it was
Yeah.
super long. It was super long. It was like, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're playing through it right now, so you know better
Yeah.
than I do. I had good friends, and I've like seen people play, friends play, go over to like friends' houses and play it. But I know it's like a definitely like a 80+ hour experience for a PS1 game, which is kind of crazy. But yeah,
And damn, I'm really hoping the 80 hour turn into 18 hour, but I can
you
believe
got the
it.
high speed mode on, so it might.
I mean, oh yeah, that's true. So maybe I'll help out a bit because I was just thinking how many parts are gonna be? Because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get to part 50 before I can finally finish it. And that's because I take like short intervals in my day to like play it. But either way, it's a great game. Like it's obviously there's like a couple changes that I heard about from the original to the remake where Tifa said like the R slur. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the fact that there was also a very dark implication between like the two characters because of this one scientist. But again, I won't go into spoiler territory because I'm not sure you plan on playing the remake one day yourself. So
I started my remake playthrough. I own the game. It's one of my games of shame that I started, and I got all the way through to where um, I got right up until the moment to where Cloud has to like dress up as in like a dress and do
oh shit,
like a dance or something like that.
yeah,
It's one of the famous moments of the game, and there's like he goes into this like gladiatorial arena, and then he has to come back out. No spoilers. I hope I'm not spoiling anything for you. I'm not 100% sure where you're at. And it's of course the remake is similar but also different in terms of the original source game.
yeah.
But yeah, I am like right before that part. So I'm about maybe 30, potentially 40 hours in, but I put it down and I started playing Ghost of Tsushima when that came out. So yeah, it's something that I intend to go back to.
Damn. I mean, you're saying I got to the part where I dressed up like a lady, but the fact you're saying like you're 30, 40 hours in, I'm just saying like, wait a minute, then what the hell? Like, is there another part he has to dress up? So
Yeah,
maybe.
well, so the interesting thing is that Final Fantasy VII Remake is like it is not the whole game, it's part one. And it's really misleading because they should have put something on like the
Wow.
advertising, the promotional content part one, but as you know, they are slowly working on part two. Because he has, obviously Cloud and the gang, they have their encounter with the big bad.
Oh yeah.
No spoilers at the end of part one, but that's not the end of the Final Fantasy VII story. And so then, and then obviously they had that intergrade, which is like the perspective of another character. Do you know what that game is about?
Intergrade?
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade.
No,
It's
I do
like
not.
kind of it's one of the characters that's part of like the original Final Fantasy VII, but you see some of the timeline that happens in part one through their perspective. And so like Cloud and Tifa and them, they aren't in it, but it's a separate group of people that are playing there. And I know that a lot of people jumped on that because there are just dozens and dozens of Final Fantasy VII, just
Damn.
enthusiasts out there.
That's
Um,
interesting. No, I haven't heard of it until now. I just know that for one of the other Final Fantasy games that there's like packs for certain characters where like, oh, you could play as their story. I mean, you could play their story and such. So I didn't know that Final Fantasy 7 also has something like that for that game. I mean, for that installment as well.
yeah. hmm Yeah, so they're definitely they're I my hope is with Final Fantasy VII remake stuff is that they're not going to like part one and part two will be it. They're not going to like stretch it out over time just because they know that people, they
Oh
have an
yeah,
adoring fan base of that. But yeah, super big fan of that game. So
awesome. Well, since it's Square Enix, I'm hoping for the better part of the Square Enix to not go down that route for them. I mean,
yeah,
for that game.
yeah. I mean, you never know with Square. They make some questionable decisions
Oh yeah.
about some of the stuff that they do, especially considering, what they just decided to sell to Embrace a Group for a steep discount. Did you hear about that news?
Yeah, we covered that,
Did
and
you cover that?
uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and as I said, like maybe they know what they're doing, and then Nathan also started to agree. And I was just thinking, I mean, I first started off saying that I don't think that's a smart idea, and then I think the literally the day after or 2 days afterwards, they all sent the NFT market crashed, and I was just thinking, well, then I guess no, that
Because they
wasn't
were
a
like, we're
smart
gonna focus on NFTs, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why? It's baffling to me why companies think that this is like a legitimate source of constant income. I will
right.
say this right now. I am not an NFT expert. I don't know anything about that. I know the most basic level of like knowledge about the blockchain and, Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that. But I just think that NFTs, I feel like I'm not alone in thinking it's a total scam. And it's wild to me that like big companies like Ubisoft and Square are like, yeah, we're thinking about getting into
Yeah.
NFTs. I'm like, doesn't seem like a safe bet to me.
It's not. I'm just God, it's so dumb. And then like this whole Tomb Raider, like I know my friend Nathan said that how many people do you hear like saying like, oh, I want to play some Tomb Raider? And I'm just thinking like maybe it's just because you're not the main audience for them then. And I was thinking like maybe I should have brought that point up, but I mean no, that's nothing against him, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, well, there's always gonna be that certain audience that would love to see more games out of this character. So I'm just thinking like it's a bit unfair to say that like, oh, who's gonna be excited for Tomb Raider? Of course they're gonna sell at that price, but to me, although that's a legacy character right there. Like I, I don't think they should have sold it.
Laura
Sold
Croft?
her. For that.
Yeah, definitely not. They
I don't
shouldn't have
know.
sold Guardians of the Galaxy either. They could be making that Marvel money. It's
Oh,
wild that they showed Eidos Montreal off. It's yeah,
that's
yeah, really.
insane.
Yeah, again, we talked about this on our show too, a little bit. Our first episode, we were going to talk because that's when the news just
All right.
dropped. But I decided that it was a little bit better to focus on games at the time. But we were kind of considering the fact that, and we did make a like very brief call out of the fact that apparently Square and however their executive management, handles their internal budget and stuff, they have wild expectations in terms of how their games are supposed to sell and perform, especially in the Western and Eastern markets. And my theory, especially now, and this is going to be relevant to you because you're playing the OG Final Fantasy VII, is that they base their sales numbers off of their historic games without actually accounting for how like games have evolved and changed,
Right.
throughout the industry today and how like the different ways to market those games have changed. And because like when you really think about it, how much like Square advertising do you see on social media? How much do you see them plug, those and like, the commercials on, streaming channels? I know Hulu has some like commercials sometimes here, but they really, I don't know if they're completely plugged in to the modern zeitgeist of how, game
Right.
sales are supposed to be performing, and so they're my opinion, basing off of like Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 7, or they're like, oh, they're not selling up to those numbers, so it didn't perform within our expectations, so we'll sell it off. They're not going to do anything in the future, and it's just, yeah, a little bit of a lack of vision is what I'm seeing there.
Very ridiculous. And yeah, when you mentioned that, I was saying like, huh, how much advertising do I see? And I'm just thinking triangle strategy. I only time I ever seen an advertisement for it was just inside GameStop. That's it. But
Yeah,
and it's
Greg Miller
interesting.
played it.
Guardians of the
Greg Miller
Galaxy.
liked it.
Oh, really?
That's Yeah, he did like a review on their kind of funny platform, and talked about, yeah, he's a triangle strategy enthusiast because he played the original one. I actually, triangle strategy, it reminded me of a Final Fantasy, so if I have time I might consider playing it later, but again, the backlog be real, so I don't know if that's going to be one for
It is.
me.
Wait, there's an original one.
Yeah, I think the triangle strategy that just came out, I think that was like a remastered edition. I could be wrong,
Oh,
but I
snap.
think there is an original triangle strategy.
All right. Well, I love the game. I got the golden ending on my first try, so I was like, okay,
Oh, really?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I beat in this. I'll get back to it once I cleared out more of my backlog. And oh my god, I really added more to it instead of like taking away in the first place. Like now I'm playing Gat out of Hell in my spare time along with Guardians of the Galaxy because it was like it's on Game Pass. How long do I have before it goes off of Game Pass? So I was like, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy, and oh my god, that game's amazing.
Really? Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's good to hear. Yeah,
it
you might
is.
have to sell me on that for sure.
Oh, for sure. Like at first I was kind of like a bit again hesitant, but I was, like over time, like just learning the mechanics of like all the huddle up mechanic, having able to working with your teammates to make sure like that you can do like a good combo to finish off some certain enemies,
Yeah.
and especially like help strategize how to control the battlefield was pretty damn good. And just the fact that you got like a lot of dialogue choices, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm a big fan of that. So I already felt like it was a perfect game for me.
That's awesome. Apparently the development was led by the producer who also did Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler. Did you ever play either of those?
Octopath Traveler for sure. Yeah, I love that game. I haven't beaten it, but I got to the point where like, okay, I gotta grind out a lot of hours to like start making sure the characters get on with their story.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. So, would you say like with Triangle Strategy specifically, like you enjoyed the story arcs for the different main characters, like that were they were something that you actually were interested in over time, the same way with like Fire Emblem Three Houses?
Yeah, it was just cool. Well, I think for triangle strategy, yeah, I'm not sure what triggers. I think just certain conviction or how much you battle with these allies. But over time, I was just thinking, okay, cool. Uh, do a certain couple missions where you beat the hell out of people, and then you get these cool cutscenes where it just kind of like dive more into people's backstory, or just see them bond together over time. Let's see like their differences like kind of like clash in a way, but also like make them bond in a humane way as well. So I was just thinking like
Right.
it's a very awesome game, and I just love the story and just like the little tidbits of oh that's what they're doing now, like oh that's what they're like having conflicts with. I just find that icing on the cake right there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's awesome. Now, when it comes to like decision-based games where, you got the good choice and the bad choice, are you the type that typically goes towards like the Paragon route first, or do you kind of mix it up sometimes and do the bad things?
Dear Lord, I'm a freaking paragon through and through. But
I
I
get that.
yeah, but then there are certain times like especially in games like Fallout and Mass Effect, like there are times where like okay, there's like gray and gray, like there's no best route, but like then just to think, okay, what could be best be beneficial for me right now? Like I gotta put my people first to
Right,
make
right.
sure that they could be okay and like not get attacked later on. Like be put in that mindset. Like especially if I want to be in the shoes of the character.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. So I feel you on that, man. Yeah, I'm the same way. I have to go Paragon 100%. I
Yeah.
rarely ever. The only game that I have done like the renegade route on, and it's because I've played the game so many times, was Mass Effect, because I played like
Right.
the original trilogy so many times, like just doing the same, the righteous path move every time. So I was like, I want to see what it looks like when I do the renegade, and it's actually cool because Shepard, like, the whole thing about, at least in Mass Effect 2, is that Shepard, he's rebuilt, and so
Right.
you see like the lines that are on his face that like
Yeah.
go deeper, and it looks like little plasma burns, because they get worse over time because you're doing like really bad shit in that game. So yeah, I really like that. But usually the only other time also I'd probably Fable, just because I
Oh,
think the little devil character looks cool, super cool in that game, compared to just having a little Halo run around like a goody two shoes.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I always love Fable 2 and well, yeah, Fable 2 and Mass Effect for those games. I mean, for that type of mechanic, and then when it came to Fallout, it's always Paragon with me. But I remember like doing well, pretty much a villainous playthrough on New Vegas on hardcore mode. I don't know why I decided to do that in that mode for that time.
Okay.
It's like telling Mason my adventures. I was telling like, damn, dude, you okay? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, this sounds pretty messed up. I was like, this is coming from the guy that loves playing as a heel in most games. Like, what are you talking about? He was like, yeah, but like, you sound like you're really into it. I was like, well, yeah, that's why I choose Paragon because I know I'm capable of.
Exactly. Exactly. It's good to know.
Yeah, and yeah, actually, that's pretty a whole lot of fun talking about all of that. And Air One, yeah, sorry,
No, it's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we're 30 minutes in. We're doing great. We talk about video games. This is a video game podcast, but I know that you're switching it up. You're trying to do a little bit of a different topic today.
Yeah. So yeah, people. Honestly, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And now we're gonna get into the supposedly main topic for this episode, and it's pretty much like us talking about our favorite anime that we watched this year so far.
Yeah.
And Nick, you are the guest of honor, so I feel maybe you should take this away first.
Thank you, thank you. I am
Uh-huh.
incredibly humbled. Thank you, Alejandro. I appreciate that. Yeah, got a couple of anime that I'd like to talk about so far, but the one that I do want to focus on as like my main primary anime that I have just recently started and am wholly just obsessed by is Spy Family. Or as I like to call it, Spy multiplied by family, because of the way the title is laid out. Yeah, this is a series that is about, essentially the main character is a spy, and the setting is set in kind of like a pseudo realistic, like England or maybe German city, and you
Yeah.
you have you have the main character. He's this typical strong stoic blonde guy, and he is a spy, and he gets wrapped up in this mission called Operation Strix, or as I like to call it, Operation Aorus Strix, Republic of Gamers. Just that's what I think about every time I see it. I just think about GPUs all the time. And so essentially, he is part of this intelligence service, and he is like the world's most talented spy, or at least that organization's most talented spy. And
Right.
he's on a top secret mission to investigate, essentially, the movements of this bad dude who is the chairman of this kind of, I don't know if you can characterize it as a Nazi party, but they're basically like the bad guys who are like threatening peace between a couple of nations. And so his job that he's assigned to is that he gets essentially, um, a mission where he has to put a family together within 1 week in order to infiltrate the like kind of social gatherings that this main bad dude is involved in. And primarily he has to essentially act as a father. And so he meets this little girl who is probably one of the cutest characters that I have ever seen in an anime, and that's saying a lot, because like
Oh
anime,
yeah.
they do a great job of making quiet characters. But her name is Anya, and she's just this little doofus, and she's kind of dumb, and she's cute and lovable, and like the character actor, or the actress, who plays her, does this just incredible job of just bringing to life the animations that this little character does. But anyway, she's like a psychic, basically. And so
Mhm.
Lloyd basically he's like, I don't know what to do. I got 1 week to put together this family. And so he goes to this orphanage and he like sees all of these, children and they're running around and being cute, and he immediately makes a connection because he wants somebody who can read. And Anya can read, but she also like pretends like a lot of her like kind of intelligence is inflated by the fact that she can read people's minds. And they meet, and her little quirk is the fact that she's obsessed with this cartoon that's
Oh, yeah.
based about a spy. And immediately when she meets Lloyd, she realizes, she's like, oh my god, he's a spy. And she does everything in her power to like get him to adopt her, and eventually does. But yeah, so it's just this really, really incredibly wholesome show. I strongly recommend, if anybody likes cute slice of life animes that have like little bits of action, but mainly it's centered around like very wholesome, cute character dynamics between, the people that are, the main characters. This is definitely a show for you, because it is 100% a family anime. There's not really, I mean, there's a little bit of violence, more kind of like cartoonish
Yeah.
violence. It's nothing like crazy on the level of like a Berserk or anything like that. But it's
I mean,
yeah,
that'd be
this is
different type
the
of
this is the
animation.
opposite spectrum of that kind of anime. But yeah, this is 100% something that you could watch in the middle of the living room, and your mom or your dad could walk in and be like, "Oh, what you watching there?" And you could be like, "Come sit down and watch it with me," and it wouldn't be problematic at all. Um,
Thank God. Dear
yeah,
Lord. Like it's like a big relief to like finally find something that you could actually watch and like not to worry about anyone walking in the wrong time. It's
yeah,
God, yeah.
yeah, 100%. You don't have to hide this as one of your harem anime that gets like super weird at a point because the screen is just filled with like boobs or ass. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. Anime can be a little ridiculous sometimes, and I think anybody who enjoys it knows that you have to take the good with the bad. But this one is pure good. Spy Family. Interesting like little tidbits. It's co-produced by two really really good um developers, both Wit Studio and Cloverworks. They collaborated on the production of this. I don't know what they specifically like, who was assigned to what, but Wit Studio primarily rose to dominance and kind of just is
Well,
super duper famous now because of their work on Attack on Titan. And they've also done some really really good anime that I am just now realizing because I looked them up a little bit. But they did Seraph of the End, which is kind of a vampire anime, which was actually really well done. Another narrative centric anime that's focused a lot on action and that sort of thing. And they also did Kabanari of the Iron Fortress, which is hands down one of my favorite anime like about zombies that I've ever seen. Like it's one of the most unique ones, and I think it won like anime of the year when it came out in 2016. So they have that under the belt, and they also did Vinland Saga, which was another really really good one. So yeah, I don't know if you enjoyed any of those, Alejandro.
no, I know I haven't, but I'm interested now to like look at what this company has done because honestly, I I'm like watching Spy Family, I'm like seeing like all these cute characters, but then like when it turns out to just like the background when they're just like people walking around and such, I'm just like, damn, this is very nice, very well done. Like how
Yeah,
nice to look at. So I was just thinking like, oh right, I forget, like very professional company that probably did this. So now I
yeah.
know. Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, Wit Studio, they kill it. And I think and it's so interesting how they got these two studios to collaborate. And I would imagine that we're going to start seeing some cross studio collaborations going forward in the future because they're just
Wow.
raking in cash right now with all of the merchandising and, everything that they're doing with just simply just the numbers that they're running up per viewer count. But Cloverworks, the other studio that worked alongside Wit to make this anime, and probably who you can thank for character creation. They are super famous. Their most famous one was Fairy Tale, but they also did really really good anime that are out there. One was The Promised Neverland, which is an incredible anime that I
Oh,
really just recommend anybody to watch. They also did Darling in the Franxx, which is that's arguable. They did a co-production with Trigger on that. It's a good one, but it's also like very very like um, fan servicey. So
Oh,
that's
oh
all
yeah.
I'll say about that. But then there's Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, which sounds horrible. The title is awful, but it's
What was it again?
actually so it's called Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. It's actually out on Netflix right now, and I think at one point it was on Hulu. I originally watched it when it dropped on simulcast for Crunchyroll. But that one was based on a light novel and it's actually just a romance anime. It's a romance anime that plays with the idea where like the main character, like, or the main female protagonist, she like becomes invisible, but she's only seen by like one of her classmates, and they kind of form this bond over it. It starts off seeming like, oh, this is going to be another one of these like bullshit like fan service anime, and it turns into something that's actually really well done. There's a lot of like dry humor, which is something that you don't typically get in
Mm.
anime, but another one that I strongly recommend. So, but yeah, so those are the developers that worked on Spy Family. Needless to say, I don't want to, branch too far, take up too much time on just that one. But
It's
yeah,
all good. I mean,
yeah. How about
oh right,
you?
for everyone. This is part one of the episode. I mean, this is part one of this type of episode. So honestly, like, he has full reign to like go off about like
Yeah,
anything you
yeah.
bring
Let me
up.
dive down the rabbit hole. I appreciate that.
3 hours in, like, all right, man,
They're
you
like,
won't believe what happens next. Like,
I have to
what?
edit this, Nick. Can you kind of take it easy? I was like, okay, my bad.
Oh, no worries. Like, all I ever edit is just like the very beginning and the end. If like it ended like if it dragged on a bit too long about like the space where you hear nothing.
Oh
But
yeah, okay, that's
yeah,
fair.
like we usually get things good on the first try, thankfully. Unless
Awesome.
I'm counting down wrong.
One take,
But
gang. One take.
yeah, thank God. Oh right, but yeah, Spy Family. Like, well, as he mentioned all that, it's a really adorable anime. If you haven't seen it yet, honestly, go watch it, please. For like, if you or like if
You
you're
owe it to
somehow
yourselves
convinced
to
by
watch it.
definitely like if you're convinced by random people on Twitter or whatever you like read your stuff on. If you're convinced by them, like, oh, it's a bad anime or something like that, like, oh, it's very perverted or something like that, like, those people are crazy. I just
Yeah,
don't understand people. Like,
it's
I'm
not.
not
Yeah,
sure if you guys don't. I mean, I'm not sure those people understand family dynamics, but like honestly, like this is very it's a very pure anime. Like, I mean, other than well, assassination parts, which is pretty crazy, but
yeah,
still
yeah.
awesome.
Like there are sections that get violent, and they do. So Yor is another one of the characters that's in this anime, and she is like a really cool character, and she actually has her own very. And I think they haven't at this point in the episode. You haven't really delved. You know more about Twilight, who's the main character. He goes by Lloyd Forger, and but the woman who he meets, essentially he and Anya are trying to get something for her to wear to attend social gatherings, and he runs into this other character who just so happens to be another assassin, and her name is Yor, and she's just this, really, kind of, they try to present her as like plain looking, but she's like very beautiful. And they like whenever she goes into her assassin mode, she's kind of wearing this like, risque black dress. But I
Yeah,
think in terms of sexualizing her as a character, they do a good job of balancing where it's like it's not a lot. And at the very end of the day, it's more violent when she starts murdering people, and I love seeing her
yeah,
reaction. That's one of the things that they do such a good job in terms of the dialogue and the writing in the show. And it's something that anime kind of has to do when they do these slice of life animes is they build up a character, they set expectations for the audience, and then they put characters in these situations that sees other sides of their personality come out. They subvert the audience expectations. Like most recently, like yours, like pretty mild mannered person, and she's very like laid back, a very gentle personality, kind of like a very perfect like matronly, like motherly figure for Anya, for them to kind of pretend to be a family together in order to succeed in the mission. But she gets into this like situation where Anya is threatened, and she goes off on
oh yeah, I
some
love
of these
that.
guys. And it's like, and I love seeing those moments where like you see like the emotion that's kind of uh, there, it's behind the character, and they don't let it bleed through a lot, but then it kind of, when situations arise, it comes out, and it's very very well done.
Yeah, oh my God, I love that moment. Like, I was saying, like, hell yeah, freaking mama bear right there. Like that. That was such a badass moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100% certified mama bear moment. You love to see it. You love to see it every time. But yeah, just like Alejandro said, like if you need serotonin in your life, if you need just a little something to make yourself go on, keep going to work every day and doing the best you can, this is going to be one of those anime for you, so you can kind of believe that there's still magic out there, because this is definitely one of the ones.
Honestly, like, and you don't have to have like the most crazy battle scenes to like have a really great anime. This is one of them. Like for sure, definitely check it out. That's all I can say more without having to like say any spoilers whatsoever. But it's just
Yeah.
full of elegance. I'll just add that part, last part to
Elegance.
it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Good deal. So, did you, in terms of talking to the audience here, did you want me to run through some of the other ones that I've been watching, or do you want to try and take just go one after the other, or do you want to kind of jump into something?
Hmm. I guess just to like mix things like here and there. Like I guess we'll like do one on one. I think we can do that.
Okay, cool.
All right. One anime that I watched was definitely not Spy Family friendly. Haha, family friendly. Got it. Got it. That was terrible. But anyways, it's
I liked
I
it. I
watched an
liked
anime
it.
this beginning of this year called Parasite. It's like well Y 7I,
Yes.
and it was an anime that I sort of heard for quite a while, but I just never got into. But wow, the opening of this anime was pretty damn crazy. I was just like, oh, this set the tone big time. Where a husband seems like a little odd, and he's like turning to his wife, and she was like, "Are you okay, honey? Are you okay?" And then all of a sudden, his face splits open, and like, well, you just gotta watch that scene for yourself
It's
because it,
incredibly graphically violent. Like it's
yeah,
very violent anime, but in a
yeah.
good way. You know, if that's something that you can say.
I think okay, it is controversial for me because I always felt like, oh, there's no real way to like convey how a story is or how serious a situation is with just like straight up hardcore violence. But like this one does it great where you don't feel like, oh, it's just mindless, completely nonsensical violence. Like it serves a purpose, like show you how terrifying um well these creatures are. What I mean by creatures is like so we pretty much get invaded by little space worms or some shit like that. Uh,
Yeah,
or caterpillars, I
basically.
don't know.
Yeah.
Where just like to set up the opening, you got this protagonist who is just sleeping, and then he felt some weird worm crawling into his hand, and before he could like, he starts panicking, gets his earbuds, which I think, yeah, his earbuds, ties a string around it, around his wrist, and to stop it from going anywhere else, and like into his brain and whatnot, and that's how Parasite. I mean, our our protagonist is learns about like the whole alien race or whatever they are invading humans and how he intends to fight them. But that's all I can say. But I just to add into this anime is so damn well made. Where how the character progression, like you see a big downfall and a big rising as well. And oh my god, like just I missed the character he once was because like how he seemed to
Hmm.
be such a pure person, like trying to do the best he
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
and just to see like the growth he went to, like my heart goes out for him. Like it's just like, damn, you did not deserve any of this. Like you did not deserve any of this pain, and you just gotta root for him, like
You do.
trying his best, like, and you try also root for him to like hopefully see the better of humanity or hopefully get in touch with himself again. Again, not trying to say too much, but major event definitely rips your heart out. Definitely should watch it. Like
Hmm.
it's like it's a it's an adaptation. It's a recent adaptation, I think, of a very old manga series, which is of course Parasite. So if you are feeling up for something like a bit more mature, but tells a really good story, then I would definitely recommend it. Just again, just be ready to like see all the violence.
Yeah, it is a very violent anime. Interesting enough, like the original run of this anime was from, or excuse me, the manga, it was from 1988 to 1995, which is
Holy crap!
crazy to think about how old it is. But it also makes sense because that's when other anime that were like super dark, like Berserk,
Yeah.
um, you know, kind of were popularized during that time frame. So it does kind of make sense where they have a lot of the hyper violence that are in there. And man, I love that you're watching this anime, and you're 100% right. The writers for Parasite really did a great job of making the audience or the reader really empathize with the situation that the main character Shinichi was going through, because it's just,
Fascinating.
yeah, it's really interesting. And the funny thing is that I started this anime, and another one of my character flaws is about to be out, is I have a bad habit of starting things that I don't finish. Um, but yeah, I started it and I didn't finish it with the obviously the intention of maybe one day going back, and you might convince me here in this episode to give it another chance, because I've been looking for something decent to kind of, get back into, and I might watch it from the start to finish. I don't know how long that might take me, but it's really interesting because I started watching this anime when I was probably 18 or 19, which was like a long time ago. I'm I'm turning 30 next month, and so
No
I think
way.
about that. Yeah, I'm thinking about that
Don't look
in
at it.
terms
Like
of.
you seem like,
I
well,
appreciate
hey,
that.
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so June, anyone who want to subscribe to my Patreon for my birthday, I'd appreciate that. But yeah, so it was right at the time, and I think that a lot of this show was absolutely written to kind of like towards the demographic of like young men. And I think anybody can enjoy it, if
Oh
you
yeah.
appreciate, a sci-fi, battle anime. It's not to say that it's just for men, but one of the things that made me really empathize with it was the seeing how Migi, or like the alien who infested Shinichi's right hand. Funny enough, Migi is like what he called him, but that's just the Japanese word for right, which is a really cool
Yeah, I
little
love that detail.
tidbit that, yeah, the little kind of like lore from the expanded. But I think it's one of those anime at that time I was watching it where slowly over time he, how he reforms relationships with other characters in that show. And then as his bond with Miki deepens, one of the things that he loses, and I don't know if this is spoiler territory. I feel like it could be, but he starts losing aspects of his personality.
Yeah.
And I was at the time of my life where I think mentally, like for young men when they're around like 17 or 18 years old, the way that they feel emotions, like psychologically and physiologically, it starts changing. And so that's one of the really interesting things that the writer of this anime kind of capitalized on, was the fact that Shinichi as a person, not only is he's changing, but because of his relationship with this alien that's in his right hand, it's affecting him physiologically, and it affects his relationships in his real life. And so, yeah, it is this kind of crazy, dark serial killer slash alien invasion anime, but it's dealing with very real life issues that I think people face with, and I think that's why it's one of the more successful anime from that time frame. So yeah, great
Yeah.
pick.
And not to mention the theme about like, oh, why should humanity be like the only like considered the sacred species? Like, how much are you willing to fight for it? And
Right.
like, why should you fight for it? And so like, what makes us so different from a parasite? Like, and I'm
Hmm.
just thinking like, holy shit, like, well, like we are the parasites of Earth. I'm just thinking like, well, damn, this anime was great, but I feel bad about myself now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it was interesting. Like, I was just like, wait, I forgot. Like, there were what you mentioned right now. I was just like, damn, you're right. Like, while growing up, you get like different. Well, you just start to feel different about like yourself, and maybe like feel different about the world and like different worldviews. I was like, damn, this anime kind of like went into themes of maturity as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It goes super deep.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Fun little detail. They did modernize it a bit, with like having like flip phones and such. But there was this one scene where like, oh, this is the part. I mean, this is probably like the reason why if it was like more in its time frame of like the 80s, or I believe the 80s, then it would make sense for this one character to leave their phone. I mean, to like
Yeah.
to not worry about having a phone. So I was
Right.
like, oh, well that makes sense. Like I can see
Yeah.
why now, like why you make the dumb idea to like leave a phone behind. But
Yeah, I'm pretty
they,
sure I'm looking for what I'm looking at here. It says that the anime, it came out on Adult Swim in the US from 2014 to 2015. So them including that in the anime makes perfect sense. Yeah.
okay, yeah. Wow. And just the I'm sort of interested in watching the movie, but at the same time, I feel like I'm gonna see a lot of bad CGI. So I was like, I'm okay. Like,
Did they make movies of it? I did they
yeah, they
make did they
did.
do one of those live action joints that Japan likes to do?
Oh my god, yeah, they did. And
Oh
dude,
no.
I think you should just see the first part and that's it. But like they
I'm not gonna
recreated with
waste
the
my
whole
time.
the wife looking the her husband, but dude, it was so bad. Like the husband, like the CGI was kind of like very weird, and then like when he like eats her head, you could like dead at see where the throat of her is just like it seems like it just got edited out, not like even a proper game Ethan face with
Wow.
everything.
So they didn't even like do prosthetics or anything like that. Yeah, they didn't even do a color pass to edit that. That's wild. Yeah, Japan, they like it's so funny how the Japanese film industry literally will like at the drop of a hat, if there is any anime that is mildly successful, then they greenlight it for a live action film adaptation. They've done it for like some really famous anime like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or they're like they've done
Dragon
like a
Ball.
Bleach, yeah, Dragon
Let's not
Ball. Oh
forget
my
about that.
God, those, let's not talk about the Dragon Ball live action.
All right.
I that was an American production, which is not surprising because it was
Oh,
doomed to fail from the jump. But yeah, Dragon Ball
sure.
Evolutions, is that what you're talking about? Oh
Yeah.
my God, Will and I we talk about going through like to just like hang out and like make dinner and make some snacks and then going through like a really bad movie night and like on our list is like watching like the new um uh God, I'm forgetting the name of this. Venom, Let There Be Carnage, or Morbius, and now I got to tell him we got to add Dragon Ball Evolutions to that list of bad movies that we have to watch at some point. But yeah, no, those I don't know if they're ever gonna be worth it, but don't watch them.
And definitely don't watch Bye Bye Man if you're a horror fan. Oh my god. I got tri- I don't know why my friend thought it was gonna be a scary movie. I was saying like this is gonna be torture.
It's
And
more of
not
a
the good way.
comedy at a certain point.
Yeah. Oh my god. I feel like I get PTSD from watching it now.
Oh no, I'm not
Uh,
familiar with that. It's called Bye Bye Man.
yeah, that's literally the title. It's just that. It's
Yeah.
you're getting what you expect from a title like that. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
Parasite, really great anime. Again, just like do not if you're gonna watch this, do not expect like just like simple violence. Like no, this is something like with a lot of themes to it. And well, I don't know. I mean, you're just like one of those people that just like, oh, I just want to see it for violence. Like, okay, fine, just watch it for that then, I guess. But if you love story, if you love characterization, like very good character conflicts and such like that,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely add it to your watch list.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm gonna say. Say for Parasite and Nick, you got the helm again.
Dope. Yeah. So, I just as like a quick thing because I don't want to take a too much of your time, but there are some really really good anime that are out there that I think is worth everybody's time. I have recently fallen under the group of people who have been converted on liking Attack on Titan. I started watching Attack on Titan in 2016 when it first came out. I enjoyed the first season. I didn't really care that much about the story of the first season because let's be frank, in the first season they drip drop lore for you in the first and second seasons until third season comes out, and then it's very very lore heavy. I liked it because it was just a battle transformation anime, and the characters, the cool aesthetic of them whipping around on their on their combat gear where they're going around their cities. That I think that it was one of those things that was cool. I kind of took issue with Attack on Titan because there are like themes in there that the author plays with that I wasn't comfortable to a certain
Ooh,
point thinking about what was his purpose of including that, like when you talk about that anime specifically, like the three rings of the city is based off of like Nazi propaganda and like the idyllic life. But then again, when you kind of get into the fourth season or you finish, the manga, you understand that it's kind of he's using those as a representation of what society cannot be or what it should not be. And so I was like, okay, that's fair. And Will was the one that kind of ultimately, he's like, dude, you got to give it a chance. You got to give it a chance because it gets super deep, super intense. This is one of the most narrative heavy anime that I've ever seen, especially for being written by by Wit Studios and having a lot of the action occur and be kind of the main selling point of the game. But yeah, a lot of really, really great characters. Season 4 probably has one of the most banger OPs that I've ever heard in an anime since Full Metal Alchemist. And man, when I tell you it goes hard, I was like, if this is what turns if this is what turns anime openers into like post-hardcore pop punk anthems, I was like, I'm all about it, because that rumbling song at the beginning, it just gets you hyped every time. So yeah, I finished that, and and again, there's dozens of memes on Twitter about how it's like that meme with the horse, and it shows like the Attack on Titan seasons, and it's like Attack on Titan season 17, and the horse's neck is like super long. I don't know if anybody has seen it, but yeah, it's like they dragged it out, because they called it like season 4, the final season,
Yeah.
and you go into it thinking, and then as it gets closer and closer to the end, people were like, they, and you know how many episodes there are, they're not finishing it this season, so they have like a season 4, the final season, part 1, and then part 2, just like Final Fantasy 7 remake. So yeah, they're gonna make their money while they can, and I don't blame them. So yeah, I've been watching a little bit of that. Another one that I've kind of been messing around with, something that I'll put on while I'm doing dishes, is Record of Ragnarok,
Oh,
aka the PowerPoint presentation, an anime. Its animation style is not 100% there. The
yeah.
voice acting is pretty decent. They do have an English dub for it, which is pretty cool. And I do like some of the characters they have in there. Like you see Thor, and he fights, and they got basically all the different gods from all the different cultures, and it's just like a battle arena anime. But it's fun, it's goofy. I
Yep.
enjoy it, even though it is kind of corny. But other than that, the last thing that I want to touch on, that I want to recommend as an anime that everyone should watch, is Demon Slayer. They just came out with the third arc of Demon Slayer, called the Entertainment District arc, and it's produced by UFO, as I like to call it, Unlimited Budget Works, as opposed to
Shit.
Unlimited Blade Works. Dude, like this anime and their animation style and the amount of production quality that they put into that show is unmatched, just across the board. Like, I love the Fate series. Like, I watched Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night, I watched Fate Apocrypha, all of them except maybe a couple out there, and then they turned into gotcha games, and now I have no fucking clue what's going on with like the Fate Grand Order bullshit. I have no fucking clue. But yeah, so
Right.
I love those, and then I realized, oh my god, UFO is making the anime, and I watched the first season when it came out, and that's the first season really is kind of the barrier for entry for the show, because the first 2 to 3 episodes even are a real slog, because it's basically just Tanjiro, and they do this typical like anime protagonist nonsense where the main character is like, oh, I don't know if I'm strong enough to make it, or like, and then he ultimately finds a master and he gets trained, and that's when, as soon as he gets trained and he starts doing Demon Slayer stuff, is when that anime goes off. And it is great. Every season that they've put out is great. I went to actually go watch the Mugen Train like film in theaters with Will. We dragged his wife along, and everything was great. It was a fantastic movie. And I got Rengoku. I got a statue, Bam Presto figure of him over my right shoulder. Alejandro
Oh,
can
I was
see it. I don't
wondering
think
what
our
that
listens
was.
can see it. Yeah, that's Rengoku Sensei, aka the Donut Hashira. But yeah, so I love that character, and I love all of the characters. They do a great job. But I mean, really, like, it's a pretty simple, straightforward anime. It's just about these 3 kids who are going to slay some demons, and the demons are crazy overpowered in each situation. The humans always have like they have the weaker hand whenever they're trying to fight them, just because they don't have like regeneration or kind of archaic arts and stuff like that. But each time it surprises you. And in the most recent anime arc, it does get a little fan servicey. I don't know if you have you seen it, Alejandro?
Okay, I swear I'll catch up eventually, but right now I'm pretty much on the scene. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, I'm really should be starting on the season where they're getting into the train, just like without the whole movie thing. So
Oh, so you're
yeah,
not watching the movie, you're watching the Mugen Train arc itself.
Yeah, but I do plan on watching the movie. I was just holding it off because I was waiting for my sister to finish catching up. But like,
Okay.
I don't know when she's ever gonna finish it. So I was like, you know what? I might as well just watch it for me. Just watch the
Yeah.
movie and then watch the damn show again. Because yeah, just cleaning up backlogs. And I was saying, okay, I should get back into this real soon.
Yeah.
'Cause, uh, I mean, like you said, animation is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Like,
it's incredible how much, and like we call it unlimited budget works because it
yeah,
is so fucking expensive to animate the scenes that we are enjoying on the screen. Like it's how many hours that those poor developers or the actual creators and the artists have to put in to put out work that we're enjoying today. Like it's
yeah.
crazy. I don't know how many people work at UFO, but I know that they are overworked and underpaid for the amount of stuff that they put out. Hopefully not underpaid. Hopefully because of the success of the show that they're making good money. But yeah, it is 100%. So yeah, Alejandro, I recommend strongly get through the Mugen Train arc, and then go on the entertainment district. I was saying it gets fan service. It doesn't really like not terribly like the main Hashira is called Tengen, in the entertainment district arc, and it of course it goes into like they go into an entertainment district within a city to go hunt down a demon who's impersonating a geisha. And if anybody knows what geisha are in Japanese culture, they're kind of revered as like the social elite escorts, but they're actually in that culture they're revered as like very very important figures in Japanese society, especially for the Edo era. But they go in there, and then Tengen, he's like a ninja. He's like a ninja Hashira, and he comes from a polygamous tribe of ninja, and they have like multiple wives because they have to keep making ninja because they're a very small tribe and stuff. So he
Mm.
has three wives, and they're all scantily clad and stuff. But that's not the main point. The character of Tengen is really really fun, and it's similar to Rengoku. They're like, the cool thing about these Hashira is that they've seen so much and they've been through so much that they, whenever they're fighting demon, they actually enjoy the fight, and they relish that fight, even though they know that death could be like around the corner at any moment. And that contrasts really nicely with Tanjiro, who's the lead character, because he's again is one of your typical simpering main characters who's always getting beat up. He's always getting nearly killed. And I think that might change over time. I never read the manga, so I don't know what happens. Please no spoilers. But it is one of those where all of the crux of what makes that show great is just the character dynamics and their interaction. So a big recommend for me there. But yeah. So what about you, Alejandro? Anything else?
Well, just, it's hard to like add into anything when you're like already describing things perfectly. Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
this
feel
is
free. You have probably great perspectives that I'm not even bringing up.
well, other than like the design, because it's just amazing. Like, just the I just find it so unique how they design everything from the sky to the water. Like, oh my God, the water is. I was like, there's no way this could be like animated. This is insane.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and like you said, yeah, I really hope they're getting paid for what they're worth because, damn, that show is just unbelievable. I'm not saying like anime is like, oh, it's like too simple, but like they're going way beyond than what anime standards usually are. Like they're setting up standards
Hmm.
for a new standard for how well designed things could be. And
Yeah,
I,
that
I
yeah,
will,
that's one of the things that makes me the most happy is the new standard, like you were saying.
yeah. And I gotta add in this part, like I love when there are anime where they don't make everything around in the scene dark as hell just when there's a big explosion. I'm not sure it like gives them less work. I mean, yeah, it makes work easier for them to do that. Like I noticed that in My Hero Academia, I'm just like, dude, this explosion. Why is everything getting dark? Like I think everybody should be lit up at that point. But for this anime, it seems like everything is like still like maybe slightly darkened, but like you can still see like a lot of details going on while there's like explosions going on. I'm just thinking, I admired that. Like, damn, I give you props for not trying to take the easy way out by trying to hide all the little details that goes on in the fights. And comedy is freaking amazing. Like,
Yeah, the comedy's
I'll just get
great
that
in
out
this
of the way.
show.
Like, it's
Yeah,
funny how like even for a protagonist, he could still be just as ridiculous as his friends. Like,
yeah.
Chandra was pretty funny to me.
Tanjiro's great, and then Zenitsu, of course, he's your typical character. Everybody loves this like most recent season because Zenitsu was unconscious for like 99% of it, which I thought is great. Because
Right.
he's one of those typical characters who like he just wants to find a girlfriend and he's kind of obnoxious about it, and you're like, oh, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
But then yeah, the character who wears the bull mask, God, I'm trying to remember his name right now. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
he's really funny because he's like kind of like a savage. He hasn't been really domesticated to modern lifestyle, and so he just wants to fight. He's basically like Goku. He's just, I want to fight everybody. But yeah, no, they're all three of them are really funny characters. Yeah, what a great show in terms of like, you talk about like having really bad CGI in anime, and it's so like noticeable when they do it. But when they do it in this series and they're panning the camera around, they've done a really like a great job, and it's very purposeful how they're implementing the art style of the actual like line drawing of the show into their 3D animation, so it doesn't like you have to really like look hard to know that that's what's happening. And of course, like the major fight scenes, you're going to see a lot of CG. Interesting thing that you brought up about like the explosions, I know exactly what you're talking about with My Hero Academia, because season 2 where Deku is fighting the fire and ice guy.
Yes, exactly
Yeah,
that
like,
fight.
and then
Yeah.
there's like the final clash at the end and you see like it's crazy. What's really interesting about that is I saw that episode when it dropped on Crunchyroll, and it was one of the simulcast episodes because they have like select series where they'll drop it at the same time it releases in Japan. And what's really interesting is that I didn't see that actual color pass. And the funny thing is that when you're watching it on most streaming services here in the US, a lot of the times it's not even the anime itself that's actually dark, making scenes dark. They do that, and from time to time, but it's actually a lot of the services on the back end will go in and they'll do a color degradation on the video feed at certain moments, because when you have these really bright scenes that are intense with a lot of explosions, it's a lot of data that's going through their service. And so what they do to try to mitigate that, to help actual streaming
Oh,
so you don't run into like buffering issues, is they put a darker color pass over it. So it seems kind of dimmed and weird. And because I watched it first and I was like brought to tears because that's a really emotionally impactful episode. And I'm
right.
watching it, and then I go and I like go watch it with a friend later, and I was like, this doesn't look the same. And then I did some research, and I realized that that's what they do. Netflix is particularly bad with doing that, especially now since they're losing all of their fucking money from people who
Ooh,
are,
yeah.
sharing passwords. They'll put blocks on how much data will run through their streaming services. So you see a lot of like pixelation and a lot of like color degradation, on the edges, especially in dark scenes.
Well, first off, yeah, they really went. They're really going into their downfall arc. I'm not sure they're going to
Yeah.
redeem themselves, but we'll see. And then,
I don't think Netflix deserves a redemption arc.
you're like, you done messed up. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, you had so many things going on right for you. Then, like, I mean, you got their usual antics where like taking down shows after like a really good season or two. I was just like, why? But
Yeah.
then you got them, you got the cuties controversy. Then like all the other, then you got all the other things they started doing where like, oh yeah, like no, don't sharing is fun. Oh, now it's not. Like no, don't share your password.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
what the
they're not. Yeah, they're not 100% on the ball there, and the whole thing about them, it's like it's the crazy thing to me with a lot of these streaming platforms. Inevitably, it's always going to get more expensive because that's just the way that our economy works right now. But it's crazy to me to be like, oh my God, we're losing subscribers. Our subscriber count is down like by millions and millions of people. What should we do to try and get some of the back? Oh, let's make our service more expensive. That
and
seems like a
ads.
great move. And let's add some more tiers. Yeah, let's add ads because
God.
that's exactly what people want. We want more advertising in our content. Yeah, they got lost in the sauce and they got too complacent. And I mean, yeah, they deserve that after what they did to Blockbuster.
God damn, they do like the ultimate revenge after all of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the old Blockbuster executives are like, ha, I got the final laugh now.
Oh dear Lord. Second thing, I did not know that was a thing, so that's pretty interesting to learn. So, huh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Third thing, what the heck is simulcast? Like I see that so many times, but I just never bothered to like understand what that means. I just felt like, oh, okay, it's just like dubbed, and I understand.
Yeah, so essentially, so it's basically the broadcast of programs, where they basically you can take a media source and you can broadcast it, like in you see it a lot. They do it a lot with like news. Like usually most news is just simulcasted and you're watching that on your local news channel, but it's a
Mhm.
Fox News broadcast. But for anime, what they do in this case here is essentially they you can enjoy in the US the ability to stream that anime or watch it the same day that it airs in Japan. Japan is about 14 hours ahead of us. And so people who are like hardcore, diehard Demon Slayer fans, or, they want to watch their, whatever their harem anime fans or whatnot, what have you, you can essentially just watch that at the same time online. It's pretty straightforward, but yeah, that's all that is. It's not super deep.
Okay, for sure. And lastly, the character with I thought it was a warthog on his head. I didn't know.
Inosuke,
Hi-
it's Inosuke, isn't it?
Inosuke, yeah, you got it.
Okay, okay, yeah, it's gonna come to me. I just have to stop thinking. When I stop thinking about things, that's when all of the information just floods into my cortex. So, yeah.
I feel that. And yeah, he's a hilarious character. I was just thinking like, damn, he's so unique. Like, and I was thinking, wait, he damages his own swords to make them into the shape he wants. I was like,
Yep, yep.
damn. I mean, if he
He's a little
pisses off that,
psycho.
yeah, he is. And if he pisses off that sword maker guy that's like comes across like so damn, I don't know how he's come across, but like, if he's making him
He's
upset,
manic.
I'm
He's
more
very
happy.
manic about his swords.
Very. I was just saying,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Make freaking putting a freaking kid into a damn chokehold or something like that. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah. He goes to like Tanjiro comes back and all of his ribs are cracked. He's got multiple, multiple puncture wounds from different blades, and he goes to go get beat on because he got his sword messed up. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Typical shonen nonsense.
Oh yeah. And then last character I just want to mention is like, uh, I feel like I always butcher everything. Nezuko.
Nezuko.
Yeah, yeah, Nezuko. I just love the sibling bond between them two, and
Yeah.
I'm as a sibling, I freaking love that there's no weird context, subtext or whatever. Like it's just like straight up like this is for family. They really do love each other. Isn't just like for selfish reasons. It's just like I want to help my sister like get better, and like she's also like showing parts of her humanity still, trying to pop through. Uh, yeah, I mean, sure, even with the old dude's spell, not too many spoilers, people, but I love that it's also helping her, helping make sure that it has a little depth when she recognizes some two characters as human, even though they're kind of not.
Yeah.
So I really love that part. I was just like, God, I gotta get back into watching this. It's too damn good to like not continue watching.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you gotta continue it. It is way too good to let pass up. I mean, the battles. Yeah, I said this before that obviously the animation is excellent, but I mean, I do want to like one last piece. Before we go here is that the actual the battle at the end of the Entertainment District arc, where Tengen and Tanjiro and they're all fighting the main demon, is probably one of the coolest battle scenes that I have ever seen in anime, hands down. And that's saying a lot because there are a lot of battle scenes out there that are worth everybody's time, but it's probably one of the best that I have ever seen.
Damn, and that's a big sell because
Yeah.
there certainly have been a lot of great anime battles.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah. All right, for sure, man. I really gotta check it out again. Uh, was there another thing you got to list down?
Well, it was something that you had on your list, but something that kind of we did share. But I have started both the anime The Hero is Overpowered but Overly Cautious, and then Kotaro Lives Alone, which is also on Netflix. So I started those anime. I didn't finish Kotaro, something that I watched started watching over at Will's house, and like we were looking for something to watch because we were waiting to go out and do something, and it just came on, and then like we were 4 episodes deep and we were like, oh my god, do we love this anime? It's another one of those where it's like incredibly wholesome, just really simple, like aesthetically pleasing anime that's got its own unique art style. So yeah, I'd recommend them both for sure.
Yeah, that and oh, man, what really I'm not sure how far I'm not sure, have you finished Cultural Lives Alone?
No, I haven't. I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
yet.
Okay, so I'll just say this right now. For a very cute anime, I'm surprised how they can still have very mature themes in this show. And like,
Hmm.
if again, like for people, like if you want a very cute anime to watch, but like something that could still like have some very deep themes and just something that makes you think and probably gives them some good feels and sad feels.
Yeah.
Definitely watch this. It really caught me off guard. I was just like, I don't know why I'm so drawn to this. Might as well just check it out just for the hell of it. Now I'm just saying like, oh my god, I love this. I love this
Yeah.
show. And it's
Yeah,
just
for
like, yeah,
sure.
like I really love the characters. I love how some are ridiculous, some are just like aggravating, but you could understand why they're aggravating because sometimes they just don't understand like in their certain situation or their upbringing. And I'm just thinking like, oh my god, this I guess this could resonate with some people that feel a certain way like in their certain lives right now, like especially when the different age ranges for some characters. It I just love it overall. Like definitely check it out. It's a really good one. And I just found interesting that there was a live action movie, I believe.
Of
But
Kotar Lives Alone?
yeah,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Might have to give that a little bit of a listen.
Yeah, they kind of like changed things up a bit, but nothing too crazy from what I've understood. Just like about a character that I didn't think like should be put in a sympathetic light, but I was like, okay, you know what? I don't have to think about it too much. It's just a movie. And
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah,
But
again, another one of those like anime things where you just kind of have to take it for what it is and enjoy it if
yeah,
it's got some good stuff in there. But yeah, man.
yeah, for sure. And the hero's overpowered, but overly cautious. Oh my god, yeah. I mean, I legit thought like, oh man, this guy's this guy's ridiculous. Like, why is he the way he is?
When you take
And
Bruce Wayne and you put him in an isekai. Yeah.
yeah, it feels exactly like that. Um, very ridiculous anime, but very fun to watch. It's just fun. It's like, it's fun to like. It's kind of weird, good change up where the character is not like I'm not gonna say like weak looking kind of guy, but like a weak looking guy, but somehow very overpowered.
Yeah.
Like the way he looks, like it's like, oh, okay, this guy's works out like crazy, so it makes sense that he would have some strength with him. So that was like, okay, that's cool. Like to change things up a bit,
Right.
but to like see this guy, this buff dude, still like, well, pretty much like be overly cautious, like be afraid of anything that can go wrong, like times 10. Definitely watch it for like the crazy comedy, the crazy action, but
Yeah.
the payoff in the end, it kind of like sheds some new light on everything. So that's
Okay.
all I'm gonna say on that. That it's I didn't expect that kind of payoff from this anime, but holy crap, I really loved it. And I'm just like thinking like, damn, there's not gonna be season two, but I was like, it's fine because honestly, it was a really good payoff in the end. Again,
Okay, yeah,
you
I'll
really
give it a
got to check it
shot.
out.
I got pretty deep into it. I got to the part where they go to like the realm of the gods, and there's some pretty crazy stuff that's happening there. I also fell asleep to this anime multiple times, which is something I'm want to do occasionally when it's like it's time to wind down and go to bed. I'll just throw like something on that I'm not too heavily invested in, and then fall asleep to it. So I gotta refresh my memory with what's going on and try to give it a shot, give it a finish.
It's funny you mentioned that because that's exactly how I kind of like discovered it. I was like,
Yeah.
I need something to watch before sleeping, and then I was like, oh, what's this? And then staying up until 2. So I was like, well, shit,
Oh,
that's kind
here
of
we
screwed
go
myself for.
again. Let's strap in. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, those are some really good two. Those are two good anime, and I really hope you enjoy them when you get to finishing them. One anime that I've watched, I'm assuming that I could talk about. Well, one of my entry is Restaurant to Another World.
Oh yeah.
I'm not usually a big food anime kind of person. I'm
Oh,
a
I
fan or
totally
whatever.
am.
I don't know what you call it,
I
but
totally am. Food Wars is great. Food Wars is also like it's simultaneously like one of the best and worst anime that I've ever seen just because it's so ridiculously egregious with the amount of fan service that they do every time they have a woman that tastes the main character's food. But also like at the same time, like the actual, if you take that away, if you like can muscle through that kind of ridiculousness, the actual battle animation. But I started watching this right after finishing like season 2 or something of Food Wars, and this was the
Uh-huh.
breath of fresh air that food anime needed. So I'm curious to what your thoughts were.
Yeah, yeah. First off, yeah, for Food Wars, I was thinking like, how can you make an anime about food be sexualized? And then I was like, God damn it!
Food
But
is
I
very
haven't seen it.
sexual though, so it kind of does go hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, food porn, like you expect that, but not like orgasm. But yeah. Anyways, moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Restaurant to Another World. Pretty interesting about like a mythical door that, well, magical, mythical, going to different worlds where if you enter, you will be treated to a nice restaurant where the pretty much the chef like kind of like knows what you want if you don't decide what you want to have. But it could be in your time of need or just be something to, I don't know, just have an experience. And I love the food. I love the look of the food inside this anime. It looks amazing. It looks delicious. I was like, damn,
Hmm.
my mouth was watering from just thinking about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even at random times, like I don't worry too much about like whoever's passing by in the living room because the there's like some short sour, what the heck, shower scenes that pass by, but like they're not
Hmm.
nothing
Yeah.
too crazy. They're just like, oh, this is like expressing how like she just, I mean, the one of the side characters, I think, she's just expressing like how she just didn't feel clean like ever, and like how much she's enjoying like the new life she has now working
Right.
for this
Right.
restaurant.
Hmm.
But yeah, like when my sisters were passing by and looking at the anime, they said like, "Oh my god, that food looks delicious." I was like, "Oh god, I love those TikToks where," and I was like, "Of course, TikTok's gonna be brought up," but oh
Yeah.
god, I love the TikToks where they got the food and anime looks so damn good. And I was like, right, I
Yeah.
mean, you want to watch, but yeah, really great anime. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure you call it slice of life, but I don't know, like
Yeah, it's like it is kind of like a slice of life because it's not. I mean, it is. It probably would fall more in line with the isekai because it's about all of these characters from different universes, and they have the portal to this door, and you're
right,
going. You're basically you walk through that door in that universe, and you go to this one restaurant, and it's like this one chef who owns it who wanted to just cook food for everybody he possibly could, and then he has a little, I guess, is she's like the other side character that you were referring to earlier. She's like a, I think a demon maybe. She have like
yeah, I think
horns or
so.
something like that. She's a demon,
Yeah,
but she's like your typical like, kawaii character. And yeah, and so but also it's like it's not very overtly sexualized or over the top, but a lot of the focus is on how they manage and run a restaurant, which is just like such a fun thing to kind of think about. How do you cater to different people's needs? How do you like give them the food that they will love? Because they serve like beast men or like lizard men, and then obviously humans that are from other dimensions, and it's like you get these like little character moments where people sit down at the table and you kind of just you get like drip fed or you get like a little flashback to their history of like where they come from or what they did and how they eventually like made it in there, and like some of them become like returning customers, and so you'll see them in there. It's very cute, very wholesome. Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's so awesome,
it'll
and I
make you
was thinking,
hungry. It'll make you hungry for sure.
oh yeah, tell me about it, like.
Traditional Japanese cuisine, you gotta love it every single time.
Definitely. Oh my God. What all that you mentioned. Yeah, I love it. And I'm not I'm not usually a big fan of anime that kind of like goes into like almost like a whole one or two episode backstory about characters that I just like aren't they kind of like side characters, but like in
Yeah.
this anime somehow they just make you care. Like saying like what are they doing? How they get into this restaurant in the first place? Like what led them to down this path?
Yeah.
And again, just seeing the interaction between each other, especially calling each other nicknames from like what they order all the time, I was saying like that's a cute detail right there.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So again, you want something to relax to, honestly, just relax to, and be sure to eat food too at the same time, just so you
Oh
won't
yeah.
like get heavily hungry
Because you're like, oh
afterward.
my God, I'm gonna get DoorDash and spend $40 on some hibachi. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. We've all fallen prey there at one point or another.
Yeah. But yeah, have some food to enjoy too, and just to have a good relaxing time. Definitely watch Restaurant to Another World. It's barely has one season, but I believe season two has been announced, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, it's season 2 is coming out. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, let me see if hopefully I'm not mistaking it for a different one. I mean, if I was, I'd be really sad, but uh Restaurant to the World. God, I hope it is that, or else I'd be. Oh yeah, it's here for a second season after 4 years of season. Jesus Christ, 4 years from the first one. Wow.
That is pretty wild, especially considering that it's one of those typical anime. It's very like very much it probably was like a light novel or maybe a very short form manga that was in like one of the shonen magazines or something like that. Usually when those come to anime, they get one and done season. So yeah, very surprising that it's get that second season. But if there are enough fan base out there, I mean, these studios do pay attention to like the communities and like who wants to see more or where they can get money off of. But just like video games, anime is strictly driven on how much money can we get out of this. And so it's very surprising when you get stuff like, is it wrong to pick up girls in the dungeon season 2, or like or like Isekai Restaurant season 2, that sort of thing. So yeah,
Right. Well, I mean, I'll be glad to like see another season of that show. I mean, it's awesome.
yeah, man,
Was there
100%.
another thing that you want to like list down or?
No, I think I covered everything right now. Yeah, I've been so obsessed with games recently that I haven't gotten too much chance to touch on anime. But that's Demon Slayer was going to be my last one. Yeah, and those last two that I really wanted to kind of touch on as something that I want to dig in. But yeah, nothing other than that right now. That's going to be it for me.
All right, for sure, man. Hopefully, I don't feel like I'm taking like all the space when, well, I really got a lot of entries. I don't know. This year has been really good for me.
Okay.
But okay, the next two entries I could just merge into one is JoJo Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind and Stone Ocean.
Hell yeah.
Golden Wind, I've been holding off for a very long time. I don't know why. I guess I was just like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to get back into this, but I once I did, I was like, God damn, I'm into it again. Like it
Yeah.
was just fun to like just have new favorite characters to have, like just to like well, obviously you're gonna have the bizarreness in this adventure, like that's
Hmm.
what it's all about.
It's a weird
But
show. It's a weird show, man. Just like the title it suggests, it's very strange.
yeah, I mean if you were expecting something normal from a show that has bizarre in it, I mean you kind of get what you deserve, but
You
uh
lost the plot from the jump.
yeah. Like what were you expecting? But Golden Wind, very fun. I'm surprised I didn't really kind of like I don't know, really care much about Giorno, the protagonist, that much. I mean, he's a fine protagonist. I'm not gonna be wrong, but other than like standing for justice and trying to like help out his friends and also trying to like fight the war on drugs by being part of a crime syndicate, ironically enough, there wasn't much else that I was just thinking, oh man, this could be definitely one of my top five JoJo's or whatever. But he was a pretty cool. I mean, technically JoJo, considering his backstory, you
Isn't
don't
he
know that.
Theo's kid?
Yeah, but don't forget he's also like got the blood of a JoJo. I mean, a Joestar within him because of
Because he got born when,
Jonathan's body.
yeah, Jonathan's body. Yeah, got it.
So
Got
that's
it.
why I'm just saying, like, technically JoJo.
Yeah.
And but yeah, other than that, I think I consider the side characters more fun to like consider my favorites. So yeah, I mean, oh wow, I guess this is one of those moments where we realize that you have a favorite anime where you prefer the side characters over the main protagonist. Oh, that's new.
That
Uh,
is interesting. I do love the side characters in the JoJo shows too. I mean, like you got like Iggy and Polnareff
oh
from
my god, yeah.
Stardust Crusaders. I mean, those guys are the classics, you know. And who's the black guy with the dreads? I'm trying to remember his name, but yeah. And then of course, like the quintessential Jonathan Joestar, who's just the pillar of all of these JoJo series. My personal favorite, Joestar. Yeah, so completely understand.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, they got so many good characters. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Polnareff definitely a big favorite of mine. He's just so ridiculous too. And oh, I think he has the best pose out of everyone too. Like, I mean, the most ridiculous best pose out of everyone
Yeah.
was when he's like, look like he's falling down, yet he's still standing up to point at one of his enemies. I was just like, how the hell is that possible? There's no way that's possible.
Yeah, you gotta love those sparkling masculinity poses that they give us. They serve us every season in JoJo, and you're gonna get at least one from every character. Yeah, I just started my watch through of Diamond is Unbreakable, so I'm not as far as you are, but I'm very curious. But I was really surprised to see that like the latest JoJo season was Stone Ocean. It was about the female character. So yeah, really excited to finally work through these series and get to that one.
Yeah, and uh, Muhammad Abdul is who
Muhammad
you're referring to.
Abdul,
Yeah,
yeah, the boy. I love Abdul, man.
he is so
He's
badass.
so hype. He's so hype. Yeah, Will is like the quintessential JoJo fanatic out of the two of us. I like JoJo. I think he likes it more than I do. But his wife roasts him every time we bring up JoJo. She was like, "How can you like that show? They literally have a Nazi and they make a Nazi a good guy." And I'm like, "Because he is a good guy and he's not really a Nazi. He's a Nazi cyborg. It's not the same." I try to explain it. There is no justification that you can do to this show is incredibly problematic on multiple levels. But if you just enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is, it'll give you some real solid gold here and there. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I can see where she's coming from. I was just saying like,
yeah.
but I was just like, he's doing it for science. So like, that's what he's all about.
Yeah, it's
Nazi
just trying to
science is
get trying to progress. It's technology, it's science.
best in the Z world, like the way he calls it.
The world. Yeah.
Stone Ocean was pretty interesting to watch. I mean, interesting in a good way, of course. I mean, just like because I know, like when you say an anime is interesting, it could go different way. But it was interesting to see Jolene's time to shine in this story because now it's just like JoJo pretty much like going to prison, and I mean not a big spoiler. Kind of like if you put two and together, Stone Ocean, like you could kind of like think about the things about that one, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, a JoJo being in prison and now like trying to figure out how to survive day to day inside there, among other things, where you will get to see a pretty much a good, great character making a return. I'm not gonna say who, of course. Um, and also
Yeah, no
again, it's
spoilers.
JoJo, huh?
Yeah, no spoilers. I'm very excited to see how that goes. So yeah, super
Yeah.
hyped.
And the obvious thing is you're gonna see more strategy battles. I think that's one thing I could praise a lot about JoJo Bizarre Adventure. Is just like after the first season, where of course you cannot go any more further of power levels before you start thinking, oh, we're gonna get the Goku stuff, or we're just like start being
Hmm.
the shit out into different planets. But I love that. I understand what people dislike about the power change, but I think I kind of see why. Like, okay, how can we make this kind of thing work where we don't make it seem too similar to Dragon Ball? But now it's like, okay, we got different power sets. They got their weaknesses and their strengths. So I was like, okay,
Yep.
that's pretty cool. So seeing more of this in Stone Ocean, pretty awesome. Very well animated once again. And honestly, do not think that just because it's the protagonist is a female this time. Trust me, it doesn't matter. I think she's well written, and I know right now people are not happy about the batches thing being released on Netflix, but I
Oh, are they
recommend
dropping
watching.
episodes like in groups?
Like, yeah, they released 12, and then they're gonna release 12, I think, later on this year.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
so I was just thinking like, huh, sort of weird.
Another weird Netflix move. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that, but and then they got Stranger Things like releasing like movie long episodes. I was like, well, damn.
Yeah.
But
Has season 4 started with that yet already?
it hasn't started already. But we got like the time evaluations, and I mean, I could tell you right now. I mean, I sent in the group chat with my sisters. Let's see. Yeah, season episodes 1 to 6, around 1 hour 50 minutes each.
Oh wow.
Episode 7, 1 hour 38 minutes. Episode 8, 1 hour 25 minutes, and episode 9, Are You Ready? 2 hours and a half.
Episodes 9 is 2.5 hours.
Yes.
That's wild. That's very interesting. That makes me curious about this show because like my relationship with Stranger Things. I know this is an anime episode and we're doing a little bit of a
It's good. It's good.
divergence, but like I loved season 1. I think everybody it like unilaterally loves season 1 without exception, and then season 2 like you see some of the quality kind of shift or like the focus of the show kind of shift, but it's still like, okay, this is definitely, I still like love these characters, I love these actors, and sitting in. And then season 3 was kind of like they just tossed everything out the window with like whatever formula that they had, because it was just like they focused a lot more on style as opposed to substance with season 3. And that was definitely, I was like, I watched it and I finished it because it was like, okay, why not? But towards the end I was just like, this is not the Stranger Things that I am used to, or the Stranger Things that I used to know. So I know that everybody was so hyped about season 4, and they've done multiple teasers and stuff, and it's probably been held up in terms of the development because of COVID and everything. But yeah, this is going to be one of those shows where I'm going to wait for it all to come out and then kind of hear like the consensus of what people think, like, just, my own little friend circle or on Twitter, and then kind of make a judgment call whether or not I'll give it my time.
Yeah, season 3, I was like, okay, please let this be the conclusion. Like, I felt this was kind of like sort of satisfying in the sad way, but when they teased the freaking Russians, I was like, oh my god, why? So
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, no wonder where we don't have enough budget for other seasons, because
Yeah.
everything went to this.
Yep,
But
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, moving on for Stranger Things. Definitely watch. If you're a JoJo fan in the first place and you haven't seen the Stone Ocean, just watch it. Like, honestly, it's just enjoyable enough to like have a good time. Don't worry too much about like the whole batches thing. Like, just find other
Just
things to watch. Just
okay, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and just relax for your life. Like, don't. I mean, if anything, just read the manga. I mean,
for
we
sure.
always got the manga. Thank goodness we got mangas.
Yeah.
And moving on from JoJo. I want to touch on the cool spinoff, Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan. And if you don't remember him, he is the character from Diamonds Unbreakable, I believe. And he's pretty much like the manga artist, Rohan. He's the manga artist that you like see him tag along with with Josuke. I believe it's Josuke.
Yeah,
See him
Josuke.
tag along with Josuke from time to time, pretty much like butting heads with him a lot. But now this time for this one, for this JoJo's season or whatever, is more on the horror side, and it's kind of interesting where they took inspiration to do this kind of very short series. It's just 4 episodes. They took inspiration to like from this part in the Shonen Jump magazines, where he would like talk about his travels into different stories and such about about his travels, of course. And it really goes into the horror side of things. I was just thinking, like, very interesting. It was like, see, even with his power set, it he would still kind of have trouble with like things that are just like really more bizarre than before. Because yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, there's like normal JoJo stuff where like, oh well, we got the alien, whatever. Oh, we got some people like being able to like attack each other from afar. Okay, cool. But no, there's
Yeah.
like ghosts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
actual curses. So if you're a horror fan and you kind of also love JoJo, you got the weird perfect mix of the two together. So it's a short watch, just 4 episodes. Definitely, you could definitely breeze through it in one day. That's all I'm gonna say. And watching it, but definitely one of my favorites because again, it's just changed up the formula, so it was pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to give this I'm gonna have to give this a shot, especially since I know that it is short and it's not gonna take up too much time. But yeah, you sold me on that one for sure, because that's
Oh,
I love JoJo and I love horror. So if they combine the two in a cool, interesting way, I'm 100% there for it.
yeah, just don't get Yeah, I know that the first episode's title is confusing, like saying like, "Oh, episode 24" or some shit like that. But like, it's I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just like format it into like saying like, "Oh, episode 1." But I think they were just like taking cues from the Shonen magazine when they were doing
Okay,
that.
interesting.
So
Yeah.
just give a heads up because I was like panicking. I was like, "What happened?" I was like, "But yeah." Um, Next on my list is Komi Can't Communicate. Really cute slice of life anime. The premise of the main protagonist guy is pretty much trying to help a girl, a very beautiful girl to him, help help her get overcome her fear of speaking or just her very bad social anxiety. Like try to help her talk to people or just a typical anime kind of thing. Make 100 friends. before the school year is done or before school is over. So that's
100 friends?
yeah. I was
Dude,
just thinking.
I haven't had 100 friends in my entire lifetime. That's wild.
I was saying like even if I try to accumulate from all the friends I had, like I don't think it will even reach that point. Like
Yeah, probably
again, that's what I'm
barely
saying.
half.
Yeah, I was thinking like typical anime stuff when you're going for a number that ridiculous. Like I was saying like, dude,
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
five will do. Like that's all you need.
Yeah,
Especially
just keep your circle small, Comey. You can't communicate.
yeah, and the reason why I would say this is for an anime, like yeah, I get it, but for this anime, unfortunately, it may seem like it has like a pure play a pure motivation thing, of course, or whatever. I'm not sure what I'm trying to phrase it as. But there's some characters that seem like hell no, they're just way too damn toxic. But I never felt so much hate for a character other than the usual JoJo villain or so. But I was like, okay, this girl definitely deserves on the list for like villains that need to be KO'd. Let me see.
Oh, like one of
But
the antagonists in the series?
she's not in she was a definite antagonist in one of the episodes because she legit okay. I know I'm not supposed to say spoiler, but I really gotta share why I hate this character so much.
That's fine.
She dead ass kidnapped the main protagonist just to stop him from going to school and even threatened to hide his body somewhere just so she could have Comey all to herself. I'm just thinking like, I'm sorry, what the hell is this? And I'm like, and
It's like that sounds like something that's straight out of Diamond is Unbreakable, not necessarily this anime.
yeah, and then I was just thinking, how did you? I was thinking like they let her off scot free, and in the later episodes, like she'll show up and show the same toxicity to the guy. I was saying like, nah, this ain't it, bro.
This
Like, I
ain't
mean,
it.
this show could have been perfect, and you didn't have this character like make a appearance and like try to say like, oh, she's trying. Like, no, suck my
No,
ass. Like that
fuck
ain't
that.
it. Like,
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about anime, that you just have, it's a love-hate relationship, and there's always even in your favorite, shows, there's always going to be one character be like, did you have to do that? Did you have to? So yeah, completely
yeah.
understand on that front.
Oh, her name is Yamai Ren, and people are saying like, oh, she's like a yandere. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I was saying like,
Yandere, yeah.
okay, I was just thinking, no, we definitely didn't need this character to be like making it coming around as a regular person. I mean, I know they're the same class, but still, this one, ay ay ay. But
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but still, it's the comedy is really funny, and it's very heartwarming to see the bond between the main guy and Comey, um, pretty much grow their bond to the point where you can see hopefully a romance pop up. I mean, I try not to get my get myself spoiled, but I did. But I was just thinking, okay, I'm still gonna enjoy this rest of the episodes. And right now they already got 12 out, but I think they're adding in more. They're just gonna be subbed before dubbed. So
Okay,
hey, if you can handle that, then you're completely good to like watch it. So yeah, a
good
good
deal.
slice of life anime where it's kind of interesting to see like social anxiety be brought in. It's just a thing like, huh, it's kind of like nice to see a bit of a challenge thing going on. Well, that sounds really weird and badly worded. It's
No, I'm
nice to
right there
see.
with you. I
Oh,
understand. Yeah.
it's nice to see very conflicted character with not like the usual conflicts. So then like, oh, I'm dying from an incurable disease, or well, like those are not
They
those
don't
are not
have
slice of life anime.
cancer.
That's
Yeah, they
like
don't have
those are
brain tumor or
tragedies.
something. Yeah, really.
It's like I
Um,
don't. I remember someone telling me like, oh, you gotta watch. Uh, what was that one very popular one where like where I think I can't say who dies because then that's a very big spoiler for the end. But well, that's gonna pretty much be a spoiler now if I mention the title. But they say like, oh, you gotta watch this. I was like, no, I'm not gonna. I don't want. I'm not in the mood to freaking cry for an anime that
I don't want
I
my
that's
fucking heart torn out of my chest, please.
yeah.
Oh, are you talking about A Silent Voice? It's the movie.
Oh no, that's a. Luckily, nobody died in that one. I think.
Yeah,
Wait.
I don't know.
Oh wait, yeah, yeah,
My ex
yeah. No,
watched that, and I remember like seeing it. It was one of those where I was like, I really wanted to watch it, but I was like, I'm playing video games. I don't want to watch this anime. But yeah, so
it's
it was another one where someone has like they're experiencing social anxiety or something like that.
she's the she is deaf, I think. Yeah, she's deaf.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just like thinking like shit. There are like so many things out there. I gotta make sure that I don't like mistake them for leader. But yeah, she's deaf. But the main protagonist was a bully to her, and now like he got to a point in his life where he got betrayed, and now he regrets what he done, and now he's trying to make it up to her.
That's
But
100%
also,
a silent voice. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, that's a silent voice.
Yeah.
Really good movie though. Like I mean, 10 out of 10 would cry again. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I one of the things I love movies like this. I just recently watched Your Name last year,
oh,
and
that's cool.
I prepared myself emotionally. I was like, I'm in the mood to experience feelings today, and I got ready. I made dinner and then sat down to watch it with my former partner after dinner, and we watched it together. And I was expecting to cry. It didn't hit me the same. I think maybe if I
Mhm.
watched it when it first came out, it would have hit a little bit different. But like there are other like some other tear jerkers. But I know the same studio did Weathering with You, and that's still on my to watch list, and I want to see that because it seems like it could very much play into the whole like you know
Definitely watch it. Oh my god, I love that movie to death. Like
okay
I didn't know
okay
anything about it when I was invited by friends to watch it. I got the poster. And I was just like, hey, cool, I got a poster for this. I was like, why am I the one getting the poster? I'm not the one who like bought this in the first place. I was like, all right, cool.
yeah
Watched the movie. Fucking loved it. Definitely
okay
cried to that one. And I'm not sure it's controversial to say, but I definitely prefer Wuthering with You over Your Name
okay
because I feel like there's like a
hot
lot
take.
more emotional impact. I don't know. I just feel like it's weird when you're like trying to like I think because it ruins some good moments where I think I'm like, oh my god, like the characters are okay right now, but then like
Mm.
he's like grabbing the girl's breast. I'm like, dude, really? Right now? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, did that happen in Your Name? I don't remember
Yeah.
that part. Okay, but yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, there are different awkward teenage coming of age moments in that, but it was yeah, it's definitely it's worth. I mean, if anything, it's worth watching because it's a nice, peaceful romance anime that does build up to solidly to an emotional impact. And it's got really good voice acting. We watched it in English dub, and maybe a little bit more of the emotion comes through in the sub for the original Japanese voice actors. So there could be a little bit of a loss in communication there. I always seem to find like, when you talk about the whole, that could be a different episode that we had, the dub versus sub conversation is that, what are you going to get more out of at the end of the day?
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's so strange how dubbing could change the things drastically, like, and so unnecessarily too, because you could have a character like saying in the sub, telling like you have a parent telling their kid like, "I always loved you," and like all this deep stuff, and then like I know I've done wrong by you. I will try and do my best to make it up to you. I swear to you. And then like the dub saying like, "You're all right, kid. I know
you're
I have
all
a
right, kid.
past."
I'm sorry.
Like
Yeah.
exactly that. I'm like, what was this?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Chloe can't communicate. Um, Definitely watch it. I mean, especially it could resonate with the whole social anxiety thing. I mean, I kind of like sort of do, but just not on her level. My God, her level is very bad. It's pretty funny, but I find it funny because I can kind of sort of relate in a weird way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think it's important, like, in something that's really interesting, and it's funny because when we started our call today, we're recording over Skype for our audience, a little bit of behind the scenes, but you pulled up, you were trying to find my profile, and you were like, Inami, Japan? And I was like, oh, I don't know why that's still listed there. I actually spent a year in Japan, and so I worked over there. I did one of the ALT programs, and I taught English there for a year, and then came back to the U.S., but it was really, really incredible time. I mean, I wouldn't trade my time that I spend in Japan for anything. But I think it's like really
man,
important that they have shows like these that are like popularized anime that address stuff like mental disorder or communication disorders, something like the social anxiety, that sort of thing, because I think that's something that a lot of younger Japanese children experience, but the way that their culture is culturally and I say this in the most respectful way possible, but they are behind a lot of Western countries when it comes to social dynamics and catching up with a lot of like modernization of like the whole social zeitgeist. They are still what I would say kind of in the, you know, 70s, 80s range of, how
Yeah,
people interact over there still, and they still kind of have to catch up a little bit to modern civilization. And I think it's just a way. It's also kind of the traditionalism that's within their culture. They're not children aren't really told that it's okay to talk about their feelings. Um, Everything about Japanese culture is kind of centered around the concept of collectivism. And when you have people who have mental disorders like depression or anxiety or, social anxiety, that sort of thing, like it's not usually that kind of behavior is shunned, or people seek to correct that behavior as opposed to accepting that person and then trying to help them grow in healthy ways. So I really think that shows like this are important for people to kind of see and understand, and make it more of a conversation, make it okay to talk about.
definitely. Damn, you put that beautifully. God damn.
Thank you, I appreciate
And
it.
yeah, if from what all he said, watch it because it definitely should be a part. Definitely should be an important piece of like understanding culture and just understanding people with social anxiety. I mean, they kind of like have the narrator put this message in every episode saying like people with social anxiety, like they just, it's not like they don't want to make friends, they're just afraid to do so, or they just have trouble doing so. And I was like, I kind of get it, but at the same time, I was like, some people, you sometimes you just need that message like hammered into people's heads though, and I can admire it for that. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, definitely recommended. And what was my last piece? Oh, and already spoke about Spy Family and Culture Lives Alone. So teasing Master Takagi-san. Dear Lord, I don't know what. I mean, I guess I saw on the deal, and I was thinking, like, you know what? Maybe I want to buy this just to see what the heck's about. Because I got plenty of backlog anime that I bought but haven't got started on. But so I decided to watch it, and it's a very cute, somewhat pure, uh, romance, coming of age romance anime, where pretty much this guy, Ishikagi, I believe it's Ishikagi or Ishikawa, but believe it's Ishikagi, where he is pretty much like pretty much sitting next to this girl named Takagi, and she's always getting the upper hand on him, like always teasing him, like no matter what. Like
Yeah.
sorry, excuse me. He always thinks like he got the upper hand and preparing on how to tease her back or get her back, and always saying "screw you" in his head whenever like she gets him. But he always ends up failing, and even though he's gonna fail, like sometimes there are moments where he would actually get her back, but in ways that he just won't be able to notice himself because he's a bit aloof. But I I just find it enjoyable just for the fact like how again it just seems like very innocent and not there's not any parts where there's like any like perverted, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna just put it this way. If you had a childhood where like you got this one crush that you sort of like had like, oh, does she like me or does she not kind of thing going on, and like times where like she would tease you or you would just have a good you would just like try to talk to as best as you can even though you suck at it, like maybe it could resonate with you. And I don't know, maybe it reminds you of just like simpler times as kids. And I find it a pretty good anime. Like it's really fun just to like see that it's just a funny interaction between these two, and you're just gonna have a good time with it. Though I will say that there was like one instance or two where I just didn't think like, girl, hold back on the teasing like that. You kind of like went a bit too far in those two fronts, but
Yeah.
thankfully it's not like a toxic kind of relationship thing, and that's something that I'm like very thankful for. That it's not like being what the hell is it called? Not prideful. What the hell is that word? It's like praise or something like that, or put in a good light when really it shouldn't. But luckily for this anime, you don't have to worry about like, that much toxicity. It's really good, and if you're gonna watch it, just a word of advice: they have these three girls also get focused on from time to time in between their segments. I skip their parts because I don't really care about them. And
Okay.
second off, the reason why they're inside the anime is because they're in the same universe as a our duo protagonist, but they just happen to be made by the same artist. I mean, different story, but same universe. So I guess the creators felt like, oh, we should have them be follow around too. But I was thinking, like,
Oh,
no, I
interesting.
don't.
So
Yeah,
are like some episodes dealing with Takagi and then Nishikata, and then other episodes focusing on those three other girls?
no, it's same episode. Just like there's like different segments saying like, oh, a little fun adventure to camping. Oh, fun adventure to learning
Oh,
bike riding.
okay.
So, but
So
then
it's
they
like
would say
little
like,
subversion, subplot type
yeah,
situations. Okay.
yeah, like you got like multiple episodes. I mean, end quotes, multiple episodes and one episode kind of thing. So
Got
that's
it.
pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and there's not much more I could say other than saying cute anime. If you want lots of a slice of life anime recommendations here, but
Yeah.
if you got something to relax to, then there you go. TZ Master.
Great anime. Yeah, a podcast. Great anime to fall asleep to.
Yeah, and yeah, that'll be it for my list. I mean, other than saying, yeah, I could understand what you mean by Record of Ragnarok.
Mhm.
I I was kind of like slow to like warming up to it because I was thinking like, okay, I don't. How many more power ups do these damn gods need?
They
So
don't. They don't need any powers. Technically, they're gods. That's just why it's so silly. But they have their own. It's its own unique art style, and it's it is one of those where you kind of just you're watching. You're like, oh, really? Okay, this is what's happening now. The Adam from God, the God who apparently didn't show up for this battle. Like, where's
right.
God?
Oh my
Who didn't
god.
decide to show up for this battle for humanity. Um, but I guess we have Adam to fight on behalf of us, and it just all of that, and the Thor and the Valkyrie and all that fun stuff. I haven't gotten super far into it, but yeah, it's definitely one of those where it's like if you're cooking and you can throw the dub on, it's going to be easy to jump in and not too hard to kind of get out of. So
Right. No, yeah, I completely understand. And um I was just like wondering like why Zeus? I was like, I sort of get it, but at the same time, I just don't get it.
he's the king
And
of the gods, I guess.
apparently, but I do like the different take on the relationship between Adam and Eve. I don't know why I was thinking like I gotta add a different name, but yeah, Adam and Eve. It's just like how I mean I don't think it's gonna be a big spoiler but I just love how they kind of like subvert like the whole who ate the apple thing. And I was
Oh
like
yeah.
I was like that's cool. Like actually, he stood up for her instead of like like no, like they just got tricked into it, or oh no, like one is lying about the other. I was just like, what, I like this take more. I like,
Yeah,
like
yeah. They single-handedly make every Christian anime fan angry all at the same time.
yeah, I'm like, oh look at that, the manga is better than the Bible in this
Yeah.
part.
It's the Bible 2.0, the Bible Redux.
Dude,
Yeah, you gotta love it.
it's funny you say it because I legit have a freaking manga Bible. I understand like why do
Oh
I have
yeah.
this?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. That's neat.
it, it's very unique, the stuff that you can find
Yep.
printed out. But yeah, I think that will be it for episode. Nick, do you have anything that you want to say, like, I don't know, to the audience, or like, I actually, yeah, plug in your stuff, or got any last words? Go for it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I just want to say thank you, Alejandro, for having me on the show today. It's been, our show. This episode's gone on for a good amount of time. I was surprised, but I've had a ton of fun talking to you today here, kind of cutting it up about games and shows and mainly anime today. I again, if you didn't catch it at the beginning of the first half, I am one half of the Friday Night Gamecast. Unfortunately, Will couldn't be here today for this, but yeah,
I
so
was
I
wondering.
just you want to he's got some stuff that's going on personally, but we're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
try and do a little bit more recording a little later today, and then obviously our main recording is on Tuesdays, and I'm thinking of switching up our schedule. I'm thinking about doing another like a if this is extra content. I'm thinking about doing a shadow drop of our third episode prior to next Friday. I try to keep it consistent though, and have all of our primary episodes released on Fridays because we are the Friday Night Gamecast, so people can enjoy us over the weekend. But sometimes content just comes out when it needs to come out, so we can get y'all to listen and follow. But yeah, if you want to follow us on Twitter, our handle there is just Friday Night Gamers, all one word, and night spelled Nite, and gamers is GAMRZ. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. But we'll post anything that we're doing. I post most of my go lives on Twitch. there, but I'm sure Alejandro will put all of our stuff in the description of this episode. But I just
I'll
want
do my
to,
best.
yeah, dude, I'll send you whatever you need, whatever you want to put in there. I'll send you whatever you need. But yeah, I'm really grateful. This is my first collaboration with folks in our little podcasting circle, and I'm excited to get in there and cross promote everybody else's content. So thank you
Oh,
so much for
awesome.
having me on today.
Yeah, dude, thank you. I'm glad and honored that this is like your first collab, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it overall. I was saying like, God, I hate it as soon as the recording, but like, yeah, I'm happy you're able to show up, and yeah, 2 hours. This is like a usual thing for a random gamers quarter, so
Oh, is that usually the length? Yeah, you go for
yeah,
that long. Okay, that
it's
makes
not on
sense.
purpose. It's just like
We
we
just got so much to talk about, man.
Yeah, and we got a lot of tangents. Like I know you say like, oh, I don't like going to this one tangent, but dude, don't worry. Like this anime is, I mean, what the fuck? No, this podcast is like usually filled with tangents, so it's kind of like on
Perfect.
brand.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, that's
it's
on
still
brand
good.
for us. Okay. Good. Good
Yeah,
enough.
but yeah. Thank you for showing up, and yeah, I'll definitely try to put as many as the links or socials, whatever to call it, in the description. And yeah, hopefully get another collab up and running someday again soon, and hopefully we can have Will show up as well.
Yeah,
That'd
that'd
be
be
cool.
great. Yeah, I know he'd love to be on. So that sounds good to me.
Yeah, and definitely meet my friends slash co-host because they're pretty interesting people too.
Yeah, I know all of you Fire Emblem Three Houses peoples, all of you wonderful strategy gamers. Yeah, I'm excited to get into that. Super hyped for Fire Emblem Three Hopes that's coming out. I've never played a game like that, but it's gonna be my first because I love Three Houses so much. So shout out to that
God,
game.
next month, boys, next month.
36 days, 35 days, whatever it's gonna be. Yeah, so I'm hyped.
I'm counting, but all right, man. Thank you, and everyone. Thank you for thank you for listening to the show. Hopefully, you guys enjoy this collab. Like I know, like different, but hey, I mean, that's kind of our thing. Honestly, we did so much better than first season, where first season was like a lot of variety of topics, but this season was just like straight up, just like mostly gaming. But it's very nice to like kind of change things up from time to time. So it's just very cool to be joined by Nick. Please check out his and his co-host podcast. Yeah, pretty cool guys. Very starting out, but already killing it like professionals. My God. And
Appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank you.
we hope to release more episodes where people enjoy it. And yeah, thank you once again. Have a good night, weekend, day, whatever.
Whatever time
Goodbye,
it is.
everybody.
See you. Bye.